Hi guys, in this stream I'll try and complete developer console for FXGL and see how much I can do in this stream. Preferably I'd like to have some sort of window, potentially a game panel, and a text field where we can type commands and change certain variables and potentially state of the game while using the developer console. This will probably go under developer tools, somewhere along these lines. So probably want two parts to it. The window area, where the information is going to be present, and the text field. So if I use, let's do the text field first, which is basically input. Text field. And the window area. I think if I just create some sort of, like, let's set these coordinates first. So if we move Y, I like to have somewhere down the bottom of the screen. So if we do height minus certain value, which is presumably height of the text field. Right, we'll have to use something like, oh yeah, that's children of parents, so I shouldn't really use that here. Children add inputs. I don't think we can set any dimensions here. So we got our text field. We'll need some form of text area, I think. Or can we just get away using text and then appending lines to it with the new line character? Probably need to set background to something like, oh, it's a parent, so probably won't be able to do that either. So we need some kind of container for that. Let's go with pane. Yeah, I think that'll do. So it takes background fill. Fill is going to be let's go transparent. See what it does. Yeah, that should work. Translate X and again 50 and just move it down a little. Actually, let's do not transparent, but something like half opaque gray color. So that will give us gray. And if we do this one more time, this should give us transparent-ish gray color. So this is essentially a JavaFX node now, which we can add to the game scene, and then that will occupy pretty much the whole thing. Then we can also set size to it, yeah. So we do this width and height. Right. We need to be able to access it through the developer menu bar, which is that, which is loaded as an XML, if I can remember correctly. So it's resources, assets, UI, menu bar. That's the one. So we have add graphics. Let's add one more menu. Right, it's a text console. On action, open console. So that is now implemented somewhere else. I think that's right. It's probably here. Yeah, this is the controller. So if we go and add one more thing, void open console. So that should just call this method right here. We'll create a console here. Shouldn't take anything. And then we can attach that to game scene and UI console. Yeah, this will do for now. Ideally, we want the button to be able to also close the console, but let's see how this works first. So if we go somewhere in the samples, find the most basic one. What we need to have is the developer mode. So we can then go to the menu bar, developer menu bar, and access the console. So pressing Control 0 gives us the menu bar, and then we can click stuff on it. Right, I don't see the actual console though. So I've created a console, add game scene, add UI node. That should work. Alright, let's do some debugging. Background set to red. Or maybe the function just doesn't get called. So that is supposed to call open console. Alright, so if we go here, yeah, so it's not getting called. Right, we'll need to find out why. What happens if we do this? Menu item. So basically move that over here. That is weird. Yeah, so we have that. I suppose this is not overridable or something. I don't know, we'll need to come back to that. Because I thought menu is just an extension of menu item. Well, it is. For some reason, it's on action, doesn't seem to be calling the method that is obviously present there. Alright, well, anyway, open console, so we now have that, no longer need this, we know it's going called, actually, still leave it there, just in case. So we have this, we go to console, no longer need that, we'll need to increase the width of that thing to, so if we do height minus both sides of the margin or padding, so it's more symmetric, with minus 50 and minus 50 for the right side as well. So it's basically minus 100. And that should give us whole width for the inputs. So that's that. I think it would be nice to have some sort of entity there so we can see what's going on. Yeah, so let's run this sample instead of the basic app sample. Right, and if we do that, thanks console. Something went wrong there. try to set width to something that I'm not supposed to. Okay. That should not refer to a region. It's supposed to like preferred width. I think that's the one that I'm looking for. Yeah, there we go. So now we have a nice background, which is half transparent, so you can see things behind it in the game world or game scene, so to speak. And now we have this text field where we can enter stuff, and we should be able to then do something with it. So these are going to be our input commands. And this is where we'll try to show these things. And then the final thing to do is probably to implement some sort of primitive command parser that will take, say, a command and then try to apply that to whatever state we have in the game, potentially variables, which would be the easiest thing probably. Right, so we have that. We now want to be able to do something with it, as well as modify this thing. So we probably want to keep references to them. So this will be called when we press enter. And we need to call something else instead. Probably the parser. Right, for now I'm just going to hard code some stuff in here and then see how that's going to work. And then maybe come up with some API later. Right, so what we need is to get the string first, which is our command. And then just print it to the command line. Right, so we'll do that here. And once we've done that, clear the text, so input text, empty, and that command should probably be attached to this text here. Text console text text. I should probably call it something different. Let's go output console output text. Just attach that. Yeah, probably with trailing new line. So when we attach new string to it, or append new string to it, that will be immediately shown on the next line. So that's that. What else? I think that's good for now. It'd be nice to have at least one variable though in the init sample. Right, so I think there's something that we can override here. Something to do with game state, I think. Yeah, initialize game variables. Which is new to FXGL 0.3. That provides you with the ability to add key value pairs, which are essentially the key is the name of the variable that is important to the game state, and value is the value of that variable. So if we put something like score and with the value of 0, and perhaps something that will allow us to print this to the screen, or yeah, we'll just do this. Get game state. This is how you can access the variable later on when you're actually in the game. Get game state, and then depending on what type variable is, you can use these methods. So we're interested in the integer, so we get int score. So I should just print 0 to the screen. The score is 0 currently, and we don't have a parser, but we should be able to open the console and have something typed in there, something like set score 15. So this was printed to that, and if I do this, so this is now our output log, essentially, which I need to attach some sort of scroll, vertical scroll thing, because otherwise this will be quickly filled with text. Now we don't, right, so what we want to do now is essentially to make that become whatever the value that we would type in the console. So if I use the same kind of syntax, set variable name and then value, so it will be 3 tokens. And without using any complex parsers, we'll just do split, string split. That should give us all the 3 tokens. Tokens, command split based on space. And we should be able to then get command name, which would be the first token. So these will be hard-coded for now. Parameter name and tokens 1 and parameter value. Actually, that should probably be variable name, and that is variable value. So these are all strings now, which means we need to convert that into the type and into the correct type. Do we know the type here, I wonder? Oh, cool. We don't even need to know the type. We just set the value. Set value, that's the name, that's the value. Actually, that is not going to work because that, I think, is going to check the type right here. So we'll probably need to do some sort of check that allows us to obtain the type of the variable by passing the variable name. And let's do get type, I think. Maybe. And that returns we don't want to return the class because we only have like 4 types. So I might do an enum. Actually, class is fine for now, I suppose. Class unknown. And we first find out if the value exists. Properties get property name. So if the value doesn't exist, what do we return? So if we allow checking first if the value actually is there, exists, which is essentially just checking that contains key property name, which returns a billion. And that allows us here, if we don't find anything, to simply throw an exception, don't even worry about anything else. Throw illegal argument. And then say, what do we usually say? The value does not exist or something. Property with property name does not exist. So at this point we will do now that it's not null and the value is there. So what we need to do is simply check, or we should be able to just return Java class of that thing. Yep, that looks alright, for now anyway. So now, in the console, we should be able to let's obtain game state first, and then we can work from there. Yeah, because we still need to check if the value is there, and if it isn't, then we can at least show something on the screen without actually throwing the exception. Exists, it's the var name. So if it exists, do something else. I think that could be moved to here. maybe 2. Let's try to modularize this because it's getting out of hand. Push message string, and that will use our output and do that. So we won't need to do this. That's better. So this will be isolated in some parser API. It's a parser. So if it exists, we do something. If it doesn't, so that is no longer correct. Else we push message saying variable or property with var name does not exist. So kind of soft exception, as it were. So if it does exist, we then obtain the type. So that's var type now. Game state, get type of var name, which gives us the Java type, which we can then go through and convert to something like, I think I've done this already before somewhere. Well, this is where we actually check the values. No, that's fine. When the var type is billion, it's actual thing. It's that instead of we do this. Else throw something. Well, actually, it shouldn't be any kind of else because we either get all 4 of them or get the exception thrown there. There. Which doesn't actually check for the class, so yeah, we have to check it ourselves. Right, so if it's billion, then do this. If it's, so that comes in as a string, which we need to convert to billion. We can do so by calling billion parse. Now we have to call Java Boolean instead. There we go. For value. Pretty much do the same. For integer, double string, and else. This is actually a different exception. But we don't want to throw anything because it's a console. We want to be able to say push message unknown property type, and then say what the actual type is, which is that. Which I don't think can even happen because we can only store Boolean into double or string, so that is essentially never going to happen. That is integer, that is double. String we don't need to parse because that's a string anyway. And that is that. Yeah. Let's see if it works. So yeah, that kind of thing should really be checking the command name. Let's just see if this works first, and then we'll come back to that. So open the console, the score is now 0. We do set score 15. Right, it returns the property instead. So it's not the raw type, it's the property type, which is fine because we can check for that as well. If it's simple integer property, although it's not very clean, so to speak, because we're kind of assuming that the underlying implementation is going to be that simple Boolean property. Yeah, it was a nice thing that I added this in, because otherwise I wouldn't figure out the error. Alright, score is still 0. Let's try and change it to score 15, finally. So we can now manipulate variables using the console, which is very powerful, I think, because if you bind many things to variables in the game state, which you should be doing after FXGL 0.3, then you can change, well, pretty much anything in the game. It's almost like universal cheat code. Right, so if we do set score minus 30, it's minus 30 now, set score 50. Yeah, cool. Right, so command name, we should now be checking for command name. And that will be something along the lines of switch statement. So when command name is set, then do something. which means that we'll need to define some standard commands, probably some kind of help command, which will display all of the existing commands so that new users can easily manipulate the game state or other things that could be done using the console. Right, so we've done that. Is there anything else I wanted to do? So we no longer need this. Well, I suppose we could, as a final thing for this video, implement or open and close kind of thing. So we could add and remove the console. So if we cache console here, I really need to figure out how to keep these things because I seem to have quite a lot of to-dos here I didn't implement. Right, console, so console, new console, if it's null. I suppose we could add isOpen function here, or do we need this? Because it is only open when it is part of the scene graph, and it is part of the scene graph when it's added to this as a UI node. So I might be able to actually even abstract it away to some sort of static class that allows us to check whether something is part of the scene graph rather than to implement isOpen function on every single thing that is part of the UI user interface. Like for now, I'll do function isOpen. I'll just check if scene is attached. So should essentially be able to simply do this. Scene is not null. Because if the scene is not null, then we are open and we are part of the scene graph. Otherwise, we're not. And we're closed. That should work. So if the console is non-existent, create the console. If console is open, else yeah, that'll do for now. So we click that. Oh yeah, we can not click the thing back because it's an overlay. Can we do this? Yeah, I'll need to fix this so that the console doesn't overlay the whole thing, or at least this is always on top. Because otherwise you won't be able to close the console. That thing looks alright for now anyway. Set score 200. yeah, that works fine. So yeah, there are various improvements that could be done to the console, and I'll see what else I could come up with to make it more pretty, I suppose. And yeah, that's it for today. Thanks for watching.